Welcome to Before the Work Begins with me, Jill Hutton, senior yoga teacher and author of best-selling Substack Yoga for Tired People. And in this podcast, we speak to the movers, the shakers and the creatives and find out what they are doing before the work begins. Are they really getting up at 5 a.m. and taking cold plunges, or are they just trying to get by like the rest of us? I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Before the Work Begins. And today I am so personally excited about today's guest because we are joined by the one and only local legend herself, Jill Halfpenny. Welcome.
Hello. Really nice to be here.
I'm sure there's nobody who won't know who you are, but give a little background of who you are, Jill.
I'm an actress. I've been acting since I was a kid. For anyone that watched Byker Grove, that was like the first time I was on telly. I was doing a bit of theatre before that. My career is really quite traditional. Went to drama school in London, got an agent, and just been working really ever since. I don't have one of those stories like I was singing in the tube and someone went, "Oh my God, you're amazing. Come and chat." I was like, no. My path is just like a very traditional way to get into the business. But that's what I do. Yeah, I'm an actor.
How did you get on Byker Grove then?
I was doing a lot of theatre at the time as a kid, just being part of the community as you did in the 80s and the early 90s. You just sort of read things in the paper, didn't you? Like, oh, they're auditioning for something, ma'am. Will you take me to the theatre? So I was doing that. And then there was a local agent called Dave Holly, and he sort of represented a lot of kids at the time. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, there's a new program called Byker Grove. Want to see you for it?" And I was like, "All right, great." Thought it was so exciting. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was 13 and they gave me my audition sides. Sides are like the pieces of paper they give you. My audition sides were for Spuggy. And I went in and I started reading for Spuggy and they said to me, "Can you just stop?" And I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's it. My dream's over." And they're like, "We don't think you're a Spuggy." I'd never heard anybody say anything like that to me before. And I was like, "Okay." And they were like, "We think you're probably a Nicola. Will you go outside and learn the Nicola sides and then come back in maybe in like 20 minutes? I thought they were fobbing me off. I honestly did. I thought this is never going to work. And I went in and read for Nicola, and then a few weeks later found out I got it. And that was my first sort of foray in front of the camera, really. And that was where I learned technique. That was where I learned what happened on set. That's where I learned sort of etiquette of how like you go about things. And it was just a wonderful experience. It really was from start to finish.
There's such a buzz. For people who don't live in the Northeast, I think it's really hard to like convey how important Byker Grove is to the fabric of the Northeast, just sense of identity. And it really does from the outside feel like there was a real buzz around it. Did it feel like that from the inside as well?
So I think you're right. I think what people, especially maybe from London and maybe Manchester, don't understand so much is there was very little being made here. So we didn't have much that represented us. We had our Vida St. Pet, which was definitely like a more adult show. When it started, it did feel really exciting, but in the sort of tradition of Northeastern people, we don't get too excited about things and we don't like to tell people if we are excited. So at the beginning, it was a bit like, "Oh, I saw you on the telly. That was crap." You know what I mean? It was that kind of thing, like, keep them down. Yeah. Keep them down. Yeah. But then as the years went by, I think it just became like part of the vernacular almost. Like people would just bandy Spuggy around and Byker Grove. And it just became a sort of a thing to identify yourself with. So it was lovely to be part of that, like culturally.
Do you feel as well? So like for someone from the Northeast, like that's like that looms quite large in your career, but I suppose for people outside of the Northeast they might not see it in that way. Do you find that?
Yeah, so funnily enough, I did there's a podcast at the moment about like which interviews lots of different people who used to be in Byker Grove, and Andrew, who hosts it, we had a lovely chat, and funnily enough, that very thing we were talking about. So I said to him, you know, when I got to the end of my 4 years in Byker Grove, I knew that I wanted more than ever to be a professional actor, and I knew that in order to do that, I was going to have to, in my mind, this is go to London, go to drama school and get that kind of training that meant that I would be on the same level as everyone else. Whereas Andrew said, oh, that's mad, because when I finished, I just thought, well, this is it. Like I've done this, so that's going to mean something. But I don't know how I knew, but I knew innately that that was not going to be the thing. You don't go down to an audition in London and they go, oh, you were in Byker Grove. Oh, well, you're going to get the job. It's like, that's just another job. So it feels big, but actually, like you said, like as far as my industry goes, it's a tiny little speck. It's a children's show. You have to know how to like move on from it, I think.
Yeah. And so that was you going to drama school. Which drama school?
I went to Webber Douglas in Kensington in London, which is now Central really because they merged. Yeah. You went to drama school, didn't you?
Yeah, but I went up to Glasgow. So
did you?
Yeah, I wasn't down in London.
Cool.
Yeah. What did your morning look like this morning then?
This morning was a very, very easy breezy morning. I woke up. My boyfriend had stayed over. I made breakfast. Oh. It was the easiest morning in the world. I had a shower, got ready and drove here. I mean, my mornings are like very atypical because obviously if I'm working, I would, be up at 5 and I'd be in makeup by 6 or 7 or whatever. But when I'm not working, one of the things that I find hardest is structure. I find I miss structure a lot. I think when you tell people you're self-employed, and they think, well, that must just be the dream.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if you find this, but I find that it's a real mental challenge to go, there is nothing in my diary today apart from things I can do for myself.
Yeah.
So, if you wanted to do a yoga class or I want to go to the gym, which I do those things, but I have to like schedule them for myself. Yeah. It's not like I'm meeting anyone there. Everyone else is at work. It's being disciplined for yourself that I find the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's hard.
Really
I think
hard.
Because you look at your day and you've got loads of stuff that you should do, but not loads of stuff that you need to do. Yeah. So you're kind of in this like limbo of like, well, I could be really, really busy or I could do nothing and both would be kind of fine.
Yeah, I could watch the Kardashians the whole of the series and just completely zone out and feel really bad about myself. Or the only thing that I find works is I might meet someone for a coffee. That's really nice. I always love to connect with people.
Do you have any rituals or anything that you do in the morning?
No, I think I should. And I don't. So like I go through phases where I meditate every morning. It would only be 10 minutes max. And then I go through phases where it's like I've completely forgotten that I do that and I just can totally forget about it. Like I don't even give it a second thought. Like, oh, I haven't meditated. It's like it's just gone from my life. But I've never had anything that I do every single morning without fail. Maybe eat. Maybe that's the thing I do every single day. Wake up and go, they're hungry.
How did you get into meditation then?
I think, when I went to drama school, we had a teacher who was billed as our movement teacher. He was an absolute yoga fanatic. Like, he used to be in this group, but he would do that like yoga where you're bending and going into positions that you just go, what, how's that even possible? And it was like a performance piece almost. So every single day at drama school, we did some sort of like sun salutations. That's how we'd begin every day. And it was just billed as movement. It was never billed as we're doing yoga. So that was when I started to sort of think about breathing and think about like controlling breath and also being in tune with myself. And I see now that's why I was doing it, because on stage, that's what you need to be. That's where he's trying to get you. So I think I first started to think about things like that with Ed, with the teacher. He would also meditate. He wouldn't necessarily make us meditate. We might have done it a couple of times, but I started to realize that calming yourself down and feeling more mindful and feeling more aware meant that I could probably access more of myself on stage. So I think I found it through wanting to be better as a performer. And then as life's gone on and life brought me challenges and life brought me things that I thought I couldn't deal with, in those times I've also turned to meditation just to say, please, like for 10 minutes, please, can my nervous system just settle in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm going to throw up. Sometimes I've used it as almost like survival.
And is it structured meditation that you do, or is it like Have you come to it yourself?
So either. So in the beginning, I would just do it in complete silence. Now I have this app that I love called the Waking Up app. And they're structured in the sense of, he might say, today I want you to think about this, but he wouldn't talk to you for the whole 10 or 20 minutes. He would just sort of maybe give you a thought or a guide. Sometimes it's with eyes open, which I find very challenging, by the way. I think keeping my eyes open when I meditate is one of the hardest things. But I understand it, because you don't meditate for 10 minutes then forget about it. The idea is you keep that sense of mindfulness or awareness throughout your day. So in other words, you're going to be distracted. You're going to see things. Things are going to trigger you, but you have to always bring yourself back to that state. So
it's interesting that you find it more difficult with your eyes open, because a lot of people find it more difficult with their eyes closed.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a sort of sense of safety thing? Do you think that's...
Yeah, it's sense of safety, because you can see what's going on, but also you are distracted, whereas when you close your eyes, you've just got your thoughts. So I think some people find that quite disorientating.
Oh, do you know, I've never thought about it like that.
Well, now I've put that in your head there, Jill.
Oh.
So your mornings, do you find that you have periods of work and then periods of like where you're completely off? And when you're not on set, are you completely off from your job, or are you still working?
Yeah, so I could be either actually filming, or I could be doing publicity for a show that I've got coming up. So a morning from there, again, like everything is so atypical. So if I was doing publicity, I would no doubt be staying in a hotel, because I'd be doing appearances somewhere the next day in London. So I'd be waking up at 6 or 7, having breakfast, getting ready, and then having to make myself look in some way glam to try and do these interviews on the sofas. So everything looks, whatever part of my job I'm doing, it's like, let's say I'm going to rehearsals. Well, then that's the opposite. That's like you pick up your bag, you brush your teeth, and off you go. Like that's the opposite of like the presentation sort of feeling. And then if I'm doing a show, which I'm about to do a show soon in the theatre, then my mornings are going to start at probably 11, because I'm going to be doing late nights. So I've never, ever had a life where I have a rhythm that's constant. And I do think I've struggled with that.
That doesn't come naturally to you then? Do you think you would have preferred to have something that's a bit more steady?
I've always thought I didn't want that. And as I've got older, I've thought, I do like rhythm. I do like structure. I do also get bored very easily. I admit that, but I think I really, really pushed structure away. I thought structure was boring. I thought it was sterile. I thought it was uncreative. And now I look back and think, no, it's not. Sometimes it's just, it can hold you. It can make you more accountable for the things that you need to get done or you want to get done. I mean, there was times when I was, in my early 20s and, just like living with my boyfriend, both job and actors. And, we wouldn't be getting up until like midday. We'd get up at midday. I'd go to the gym around about 2 or 3. I'm not saying we didn't do the things we needed to do, but why was I getting up at midday? What, just because I could stay up? And when you're a young person, you think staying up is somehow like, I don't know, like, are you winning at life to stay up late when you're younger? I don't know. I just look back now and think, I really believe there's something about like catching the morning.
If you didn't have to have your alarm clock on.
Oh, yeah.
And you just woke up, what would your perfect morning look like?
I usually, I think naturally, like definitely like 8 or 9 hours sleep, which is quite a lot, I know, for some people, but I think I'm quite a good sleeper. So that's what I'd want. I'd want to wake up naturally feeling refreshed. And then I always, always want to go out for breakfast. I would much rather have a breakfast in a cafe than at home. I don't know why. I just really like the ritual of everyone putting their tracksuits on and washing your face and just going to your local cafe. And that's how you start your day.
Do you have a particular cafe you like to go to?
There's quite a few. And where I live is quite cafe heavy. So there's like different cafes for different moods. So there's like more like a granny cafe.
Nice.
Where you'd get like sort of lentil soup and a scone. And then there's like your sort of more bougie cafes where you'll get like your avocado Not that I like avocado, actually. I actually really don't like it. So it just depends what mood I'm in.
Are you an early riser? What time would you get up?
What's early? What would be early to you?
Oh, see, I'm bad because I sleep. I'm a late sleeper.
Mhm.
So truthfully, anything before 8 o'clock is early to me, to be honest.
So I don't think I am an early riser because that's what I think. I think like when people, are up at the gym by 6, I'm thinking, oh, and you had to be up by 5:15 then really realistically. 5:15, still in the middle of the night.
Do you go to bed early as well?
No, not really.
No.
Between like 10:30, 11:30. It could be pushing to midnight sometimes. I think I would honestly like to be the person, though, who gets up at sunrise.
Yeah.
I really think I would. And it shouldn't be that hard because when I'm working, I do that all the time. Like, in the winter, you're always up before the sun's up. It is quite nice to sort of be having had my breakfast and be on set, and then the sun's coming up and you think, look, I've caught the day. But I don't know. I've never been able to do it if I don't have to do it.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it feels like there's also some kind of superiority about being an early riser as well. Like,
yeah,
people who are early risers love to
tell you about all the things they've got done before 10.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm only just thinking about the things I want to get done. Yeah, maybe there is a bit of jealousy involved for me of people who just naturally love that to get up at that time in the morning. But again, this all goes back to, I know I'm capable of it, but when I don't have to do it and when I'm just on my own and there's nothing set out for me schedule-wise, I just find that sort of inner discipline quite hard.
But in your job, are you often told to be at certain points at certain times? So is it quite regimented?
Yeah, very regimented, and there's no room for lateness. When you're on a shoot, obviously if you're leading a show, really you're working 14, 15-hour days every day, and then when you get home at night, you've got about another hour at least of line learning before your next day. So I think I was talking to another actress about this actually, and this is one of the challenges, I think, of this job, that it's like instead of just peaks and troughs, it's like mountains and absolute black holes. So it's about like when I'm working and when I'm really highly schedulized like that, about also kind of like maybe just having some sort of sense of being able to take it a bit easier on myself. It's punishing. The schedule is punishing, but I think that I need to find a way in myself to go through that schedule with more ease and less like I'm going to war. I get my armor on. I'm like, right, got to do this. Got 7 scenes to shoot today. This is going to be hard. We've got all of this to do. But I just, all right, Jill. Maybe you can just accept that you've got all of this stuff to do, but maybe you could do it with just not holding on so tightly.
And is that something that's happened through just experience, or has there been like a shift that's happened?
I've always been very, very conscientious, but perhaps to my detriment, in the sense of you can absolutely be conscientious, but you can hold something lightly.
Yeah.
And I think I just sometimes hold on tightly, probably out of fear, just fear of, will I let someone down? Will I not be good enough? Will I not use this opportunity as in the way that it needs to be used? I think I just, it's just a trust of myself that as I'm getting older, I'm getting slightly better at. But probably when I was younger, it's just a feeling of like, I need to make sure I do this right, rather than I need to make sure I really enjoy this and do the best I can.
Do you think that trust has come as well now that you can see that your career is long lasting and that the opportunities are still coming? Do you think that's helped you develop trust?
People do talk about this as you get older, and when you're younger, you think, yeah, whatever. But there is a sense of, who am I trying to prove something to?
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm still doing it. That is the proof in itself. I am still doing this. So you don't need to be trying to show someone that you deserve to be there. You are there. And it was probably about 10 years ago. So I'm 50 now. So about 10 years ago that I started to take that really, really seriously. Like, you are here. Who are you fighting against or fighting for? And I was just like, just try and just chill out. So it's very much, I'm on that journey, but it's taken a while.
And do you have to have conscious breaks or times where you recharge? Because if it's so demanding, do you have to be like, right, at this time in the year, I'm taking it completely off? Or how do you manage your time off?
So I don't think I've ever got to the point in my career where I've been able to look, let's say, 2 years ahead and say, I've got that, and that. So therefore, I'm going to have a holiday there, and there. People don't think this because they see me on television a lot or on stage, but I still don't always know what a year will look like. So I still very much have the mindset of, well, I can't book the holiday.
Yeah.
If I book the holiday, then I'll get a job. And, what will I do? And it's like, again, it's just really trying to say to myself, but if you booked a holiday and something came up, you could cancel the holiday. Yeah. Is that such a big deal? Yeah. It's really like letting go. It's such a particular mindset, I think, to be, a business owner or a self-employed person. I mean, essentially an actor is that, you own your own business. It's the mindset of like you say, the trust and the knowledge of like, I can go and rest and I can take time out and I can still trust that something will still be there when I come back.
And was that difficult when you had like young babies?
So again, like when I look back at that period of my life when my son, like I just had my son, I was still like very, very much just in the phase of getting jobs as and when they came. So to answer your question, I just don't think a lot of thought went into it. I was either busy, and then I had to make sure that between me and my son's father and my mum and his mum, that the childcare was being looked after. And then when I wasn't working, then I was with him. Yeah. But I honestly, there was never, this is not me exaggerating, there's never been a time where I've sat down and said, I need to take some time out or I need to keep those months free. Because, like I say, I've never had enough foresight of my work to be able to do that.
What is it like going from a set where it is so busy, everything's regimented, every second of your day is regimented, to suddenly just being in the quiet of nothing?
It's like a death, which sounds really like an exaggeration, but again, I've got better at this. But in my younger days, I wanted to do this job so much. And just statistically, if we're being really honest, there are not as many jobs for women as there are for men. So there was a lot of time in my 20s where I would spend a lot of time out of work. When I knew a job was coming to an end, it would crush me.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't crush me because I'd be like, oh, this job has been like the best job of my life and I just want to do this job. It would be more like, I am now going to go back into the void of me. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Is this worth it? What am I really about? What are my values? What am I, because, a bit like the meditation.
Yeah.
It's like, all then I have is me. I don't have a schedule. Nobody wants me. Nobody needs me. I have no purpose. People ask me about this business. I often say to them, this is as much as a mental game as anything else you're thinking of. You think I'm going to say, you've got to go and practice and you've got to, yes, do all of that. Be up on the things that you need to be up on, all of that. But honestly, when you're sat at home and you're unemployed and you've got no money and you're feeling rubbish, and you have to tell yourself, or you have to talk to that negative voice and say, I know you're trying to pull me down today. I know you're trying to make me feel bad today, but I'm going to do something good for myself and not listen to you. I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to pick up the phone and talk to a friend. That's hard to do on a constant basis. That's not just like, oh, there was a period. It's like, there's always, it's like a roller coaster.
And was there any practices other than the meditation that you turned to be able to get through those times?
Exercise has always, I never ever thought, it sounds ridiculous this, but I never realized that I exercised for my head. I always thought I exercised for my body, for my physical appearance. So when I was in my 20s and 30s and I'd be going to the gym, or I'd do yoga or Pilates or whatever else was going on, sometimes I'd do classes at like Pineapple in London. I always thought it was just to keep myself fit and to keep me moving. As I sort of hit in my 40s, I was like, this is a head game for me. This is like, of course, the physical benefits are great, but I need to move. I need to get, like, I realize now that movement helps with the overthinking. Mm-hmm. Movement helps with the negative thinking. Movement helps me breathe and open up my chest so that I suddenly have perspective on my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, none of those things were remotely, I was not conscious of those things. So now it's really nice actually, because now when I go to the gym or do whatever exercise I do, if I'm really not in the mood, I'm like, it doesn't matter if your body doesn't want to move. Your head always thanks you.
Yeah.
So even when I go in and I'm miserable, I walk out and I go like, thank you for doing that for yourself.
And do you see your acting as a practice in itself? Do you feel like the word that's coming to mind is spiritual, but like a practice that you've had to get better at and speak to yourself about through your life?
Yeah, I again think I came to that realization a bit later on, which is, oh, maybe I have turned to this profession because expressing myself is really, really important. Mm-hmm. And there are parts of me that don't feel heard or don't feel like they can be expressed. And I need to do that and channel that into something else. And, you know, maybe I didn't think about that because I thought it sounded a bit, you know, oh, that's what like actors say. But it's true that there is a cathartic nature to what I do. And actually, conversely to that, there's also a part of what I do that can actually bring me down.
Yeah.
So, you know, just by the nature of how my career has gone, I do seem to play a lot of characters who are in deep distress quite a lot.
You cry a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. And I've realized now that I have to also be very careful about that. So I will do that. And that's my job. And that's what I'm, you know, paid to do. But I have to remember that in order to get myself there, I have to tell my brain that something is happening in order to create those feelings, which is fine. That's acting. But I just need to remember when I go back to the dressing room to tell myself that that wasn't real and that it's okay. And that might sound a bit whatever, but it's really important. And I still to this day forget to do it. I'll be on set for a week and we'll be doing really hard stuff. And I'll say to my boyfriend, I just feel really spent. He's like, well, what have you been doing? And I was like, no, those scenes, you know, where, and I'll be like, oh.
Just spent all week thinking my daughter's being kidnapped.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, Jill, because I've never, you know, again, like, and maybe this goes back to this part of me that just wants to present myself as somebody who can work and do the job. Maybe there's been a part of me that just wouldn't want to admit that actually it does affect me.
Yeah.
Because I want to be like, no, I'm fine. I can do this. Yeah, I can do it all day long. What, you want another take? Yeah, I'll do another take. And now I'm just getting a little bit better at saying to the director, I've probably got one more. And after that, I'm pushing it.
And do you feel like that has been modelled to you by anyone? Or is it a path that you're having to forge?
I think a bit of both. I think by pure osmosis, you're taking in what other people are doing on set. And I think that I've probably been around enough people and subconsciously just seen people make those choices or do those things. And I also think it's just a experience and age thing of again, me just learning about who I am and my body, and also in my early days when on camera, I would do like the same performance for the wide, the mid shot, and the close. And I would give it everything. So let's say we did 6 takes on each one. That's a lot of takes that you're going to do with that kind of performance. Then I started to realize, well, they're never going to use that bit on the wide. We're going to be in on the close by that point. There's no point in me giving it that, like the full beans on the wide. Maybe I'll do like the first line and then I'll kind of know that that's not going to be used. And then I got to the stage of, well, even if they do use that, I only need to do 2 takes. They're not going to get anything better from.
Yeah.
I just start to know my own process. And I think I'm also a person. And again, I think this goes back to me being ready all the time. I think my best takes are probably like the earlier takes. I think if I repeat something too much, I just get bored with myself and it feels inauthentic. So I will now be upfront and I'm confident enough to say to the director, this is going to be tricky and it's going to be really hard. And I reckon if you haven't got it in the first 2, we'll struggle. So technically, let's make sure that everything is as you need it to be. Let's do a take where I'm not going to do the performance. Just make sure the cameras are settling where they need to settle. Tell me where I need to be or tell me where my face needs to be. Because once we're in this, I really don't want to have to do it too many times.
Yeah.
And I'm confident to say that now. Whereas when I was younger, I wouldn't dream of saying that. I felt like I was just at the service of everyone else and no one was at the service of me. Whereas now it's like, it's an ensemble.
Yeah.
Like we're all in service of each other. That's what we do. And that's the thing that I love most about being on a set. Like I love being able to help the cameraman out. I love it if the lighting guy says, oh, you would just out your light there. Could you just move your head? If it doesn't affect my performance, of course. Yeah. I love that. I love sharing.
What you're describing there comes with age and experience and authority. Do you find that it's changed for young actors now? Do you think it was harder for you to voice, look, I'm a human?
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I think that actors are allowed to have more of a voice now and more of an opinion about what they want to put out.
I feel that there is a connection between yoga and acting. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a real direct line between who you are and yourself, and like trying to align it so like that the energy just kind of flows in so that you can get it out, know what it is, and then get it out.
The correlation between the yoga and the acting, I think that's exactly what my teacher at drama school was doing without saying it. I think the best actors are the ones that seem to do it with ease.
Yeah.
And even when they're really angry or really upset, there's an energy, there's an ease in which that energy's coming out of them that is really affecting. And what I've learned, I think, about yoga is that, again, my personality will be like, just gotta push it to them and just... It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't do that. You're asking me to be where I'm at. Feel how that feels. And even like, well, if that's where I'm at, how do I work with that then? Yeah. How do I meet today with this? It's really hard, like, especially when people just have like 1 or 2 days on a set. They don't know anyone. They might be intimidated by the people they're working with, even if the people are being really friendly. And you just see this constriction in their body. And because of that, it's like, everything shuts down. Yeah. Your brain doesn't work as well. Your mouth doesn't work as well. Your body doesn't work as well. And I think that's kind of what I'm thinking in my mind. And what you're saying is like, there's something about the movement and connecting with the breath and the ease in which you let your body move. That's what I try to bring when I'm on stage or on set. And that's what I want to bring to another actor as well, which is just, hey, we're just chatting. Yeah, that's what it's just. This is what it's just an exchange of energy. It's so upsetting for me to see people put themselves through such a terrible time.
And I love that when you say it's an exchange of energy, because I really feel like as a yoga teacher, and this is what I try and convey to the yoga teachers that I train, it's learning how to orchestrate energy. And I feel like acting is whenever you see a good actor, like you're like, wow, how do you connect to that energy? Have you got something that you're able to be like, right, I know that I can do this to get me into that headspace?
So I can always just rely on technique.
Yeah.
Which is what any of us can do in any of our jobs. You know, if all else fails, fake it till you make it, technique. But if I want more than that, which I would know now that the constriction was inside me, and I'd be like, what's happened? Have you had a unsatisfactory creative decision with someone that morning? Have you had have you been on the phone to someone, a friend or a family, and it's been upsetting? Like, what's happened that day to make you feel like your flow isn't there? So I would ask myself those questions, and usually you will find the answer pretty quick. If there's nothing I can do about something, or if there's nothing I can change about that situation right there and then all I have is the now. All I have is me and this other person that I'm with on set. So let's just, for that moment, exchange whatever we've got and see what happens. Is if none of those things were working for me, I could say to myself, is there any way I can use this energy for what I'm doing now? Is there any way I can somehow like change that into something that I need and use it? Which you can sometimes, not all the time.
If you got to the end of your life and you could go back and you could choose one morning to relive, where would you go?
I think I would have to go back to when my dad was alive. So my dad died when I was 4, and I have very, very few memories of him. So I can't specifically pinpoint the morning, but honestly, any morning, maybe quite close to before he died, because I would have been older then, I would love to just spend a morning with him.
And what would that look like? What would your house be like? What kind of breakfast would you have? Describe it to us.
The honest answer is I don't really remember, but in an ideal world, what I'd like it to look like is my dad was always very active as well. He was often in like running shorts, or he would go out for a run in the morning, or football. He played loads and loads of football. So I'd love him to like have come in from a run, and then you'd be like, right, your breakfast is ready. And then we'd sit and have like, you know, eggs on toast and just chatting to him and just getting to know him, and just sort of like sitting on his knee and just being with him, sort of breaking bread with him, and just kind of just enjoying having my dad.
Yeah.
I just think that would be really lovely. I can't think of a better morning, and I'd like to revisit any one of those ones that we did have together.
That's really beautiful. Do your family, are you very like morning focused? Would you have breakfast together?
So my family in general, right? Anything to do with food, we are in.
Yeah.
Right. We are a foodie family. Right. So yes is the answer to that. Just recently, my mum turned 80 just at the weekend. So we hired a big house in the countryside. So of course, we wake up, the first thing we're doing, we're meeting in the kitchen. Who wants the cheesy sourdough? Who wants the eggs? Who's having the granola? Like, we're eating all the time. And while we're eating breakfast, we're discussing what we're going to have for lunch. That. So, yeah. So, but at home, weirdly, because I obviously still love food, me and my son, I have to hold my hand up and admit that I'm not a mom who has a full fridge. I hate, with a passion, grocery shopping.
Oh dear.
I don't know why. I love eating. I hate supermarkets. I can't stand the lights in them. They make me feel depressed. I get very, very overwhelmed at like what's on the shelves. This is insane. I don't know why. So what I tend to do is I tend to like shop small and local. Mm-hmm. So I will be in a small shop kind of every day, getting something for the food that night. But just as a result, when it comes to like extra snacks and things like that, my son will be like, there's nothing in the fridge. I'll be like, there is. There's chili sauce. Yeah. Ingredients. Like, I can't snack on that. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. So we nearly always go out.
Yeah.
And he loves it, to the point now where like he'll say to me, like he'll hear that I'm up and he'll be like, fancy going to the cafe. It's like our thing. When we lived in London, and I lived in Crouch End for years, Crouch End is like, it's just cafe heaven. So when he was a kid, we would always be in cafes. Like, I think sometimes the loneliness of being on your own with a child can feel quite isolating. And I think the cafe culture helped me feel like less isolated and part of the community. So it alleviated some of that isolation. And then I think because we had those lovely experiences, we've just continued to do it.
So how come you moved back up to the northeast then? What was the decision there?
Yeah, so two and a bit years before COVID, I had lost my partner. And I wasn't thinking about leaving London because of that. I just sort of found myself in this position where I was like in my 40s. I'd lost my partner. There was me and my son. Work was fine. COVID hit and we went up to stay with my sister in concert. And I think for the first time, maybe for everyone, we all just had that time to just think. And my son's always loved it up here. Always. Like he used to say, can we live in the northeast? And I'd be like, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was leave the northeast. So I thought that was so fascinating that he had this, and he was like, but all our family's up there. So staying with my sister, and it dawned on me again. I was older, I felt more confident, and I was like, does it make any difference now where I live? Have totally established myself. The people who are auditioning me already know who I am. So they either like my work or they don't. Yeah. The people who don't know me want me to do a self-tape because that's how our industry is now. Why am I in London? So when I worked it out, the reason why I was in London is because I have a very, very good friend there who I always wanted to live next to because we had such a lovely friendship and I couldn't imagine like not living next to her. And then other than that, I had lots of other friends, actor friends who, as you know, sometimes are available, sometimes they're not. And you live in London, it's a big place. So it's not like I was seeing them on a daily basis. So I just, on a very practical level, thought maybe going up to the northeast and living by the sea, which is something I'd always thought about, maybe that could work. Like, maybe I could try it. Why not? And I spoke to my son about it and he was like, yeah, I'd love to give it a go. So we did. I mean, it was just one of those moments where you're like, why am I still here? I love London. I still love London. I'm not one of those people that hate on London because I find that a bit bizarre because it's like, it's got so much to offer. You might not want to live there, but my God, it's got so much to offer. But life has weirdly kind of revealed more of itself to me since I've come here. And it's kind of revealed that I don't have to panic as much.
Yeah.
And actually people are coming to me and work is available. Yeah. And the more I've relaxed, the more life has come to me. And that's what I've kind of learned since being here.
Is it the same northeast that you moved away from? What's the biggest differences?
So there seems to be so much more independent businesses, which I love. So much more like creative spaces, people with like new ideas, opening bars, restaurants, immersive experiences. Like it feels like people are finally saying, we can have everything that everybody else has.
Yeah.
We're just in a different place. Like, why would the geography stop us from having it? And I just think, this is amazing. Like, this is what everyone needs. And I think it is a vibrant city in it, and it has got so much to offer. But I think that finally, people have said that for so many years, but you haven't necessarily seen it reflected in what we do have. But I think finally it's like, it's being reflected now with all of the things that we bring to the table.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's an exciting place to be. It feels like something is happening.
Yeah.
And if you were in a hotel and there was a hotel buffet, what's your strategy for a hotel buffet?
The strategy for a buffet always for me is get a lot of what you want, not lots of different bits.
Oh.
Because for me, like, let's say you get 15 bits. I reckon like 7 of them, you're going to be like, nah, I'm not that bothered. I reckon you take a little bit of, you think the thing that looks the best, have a little try. If it's good, That's your thing. I'm not a massive buffet fan.
And you're not. So, okay, what would you rather have?
My favorite type of food is anything that comes in a bowl, anything that's Asian inspired. Give me rice, give me pak choy, give me some chicken or tofu or anything, any protein that's kind of got a bit of soy sauce on it. It's just all those flavors, the umami and all of that. That is I can't get enough of it. Breakfast, I'd always go eggs and sourdough. It's pretty bland choice, but it's the best. And if they've got those little packets of Nutella,
yes.
I'm literally putting them in my pocket.
You're going to steal the Nutella.
You will see me walk out of the hotel with and I've literally, and I'm saying to my boyfriend, get some of them. Because when I was a kid, I thought that was the most luxurious thing that I could ever buy. There was one post office in the Felon that sold the singular packs. So not the jar. My mum would never buy the jar. She would say that was sugary rubbish. But those she would buy me. I think they were 15 pence, if I remember right. And I just used to think that was just the best.
Now, if you have a Nutella, you would still want it in an individual portion.
Yeah, totally from that sort of memory.
Well, this has been absolutely wonderful, Jill. I feel like we've talked about absolutely everything. Thank you so much for coming on.
It's my pleasure. It was really nice to meet you properly.
Thank you for listening to Before the Work Begins podcast with me, Jo Hutton. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you always get to hear the brand new episodes of this podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Jo Hutton Yoga and of course on Substack at Yoga for Tired People.